Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Tommy here with Kicks and Bricks, and we are back with another short video. So today's video is going to focus on Nike.com desktop and sneakers as well. We have a lot of drops coming up this week on the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 7th. We have multiple dunk lows. Let me go ahead and we have a lot of dunk lows. These are all releasing within the next week. We have a few dunk highs. So what I'd like to do is kind of show you guys my take and how I go about entering for these releases. I do enter multiple accounts, but I'm going to show you guys the best way to do it manually. If you watched my video last week on Omega Proxy Switcher, we can also utilize that on different browsers. So the thing with Nike is it has the strongest filtering out of pretty much any company. They filter through entries better than any other company. Shopify, Foot Sites, it doesn't matter. So when setting up for your account, there is a few tips and tricks that I'd like to go over to make sure that your entry doesn't get filtered through. So I have a clean account here, one that is not set up with anything at all. It is brand new. I just created it for you guys. So first and foremost, you're going to need a phone number. So what I would suggest is you have two options. You can contact as many friends and family members as you possibly can and get their phone numbers and tell them to just stand by. They're going to get a code. Once you add your phone number, once you create your Nike account, you'll come here to account details. Just go to account settings. Okay, and then at that time, you'll just add your phone number here. You'll type in whether it's a friend or family members. You'll push send code. You'll type in your code, and then now your Nike account is SMS verified. Now that is mandatory in order for you to enter any drops. Now what a lot of people miss when setting up their accounts is they don't fill out this information here. I always fill out this information, whether I purchase my accounts or whether I make one manually. This information is vital. So I always put my state, my city, and my zip code here. Then you'll go over to delivery addresses. When you add an address, basic information here, first name, last name, your street address, your apartment, your city, your zip, your phone number that you put initially, and then you want to click set default shipping address. Now, when jigging this information, it's only a slight jig. You do not want to put 3 letters before or after the address. So what I mean by slight is, for instance, if your address is 123 North 21st Street. Okay, so that'll be one way that you would type it. Okay, and then for your second account, when you create it, what I would do is take that out completely, just put 21st, and then maybe that. Okay, now if you live in a townhome or if you live in a gated community, so what Nike does on some accounts is it pulls up to see if you live in a standalone or if it's actual a real address or if it's apartment building. Now, if you live in an apartment, you can pretty much do whatever you want here. So I would put Suite 1 and then I would change it to Apartment 1, Unit 1, Building 1, and then you can also spell out apartment or spell out do UN for unit instead of UNIT, or STE for suite instead of SUITE. You don't want to jig to the point to where the address is undeliverable. And how I check that on my end is, say for instance, I put an address in and I want to make sure it pops up. I would copy and paste it to Google exactly the way that I put it into Nike. And if it shows up the address, then I'm good to go. I have 13 accounts and I hit pretty consistently on the accounts. I hit 3 pairs of the Patent Breads. I hit 2 pairs of the Red Thunders, as well as 2 pairs of the Shadow Low Golfs that just released last week. So the thing with Nike is it's all about quality. It doesn't really matter how many accounts you have. It only matters if the accounts that you have are set up correctly. What I also recommend is making purchases on some of those accounts as well. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars, but what I do personally is I'll buy a pair of socks, or I'll buy my son some Nike slides. If I see a shirt that I like that matches a pair of shoes, I'll purchase that. And that just builds up your use on the account. Now, as far as the addresses is concerned, your best bet is to get as many unique addresses as possible. So ask your friends and your families for as many addresses as you can. And rule of thumb for me is that you do not jig more than 3 times each unique address. Keep in mind you can add your suite or apartment number to it if you live in a townhome or a gated community. I wouldn't recommend it if you live in a standalone. Sometimes they do pull it up to make sure it's a house. And you can do NRTH for north. You can spell out northeast instead of N.E. You can play with it a little bit and kind of test it and see how it works, but it works for me. So I definitely know that it does work. Now back to setting up the account. So after you do your address, you're going to enter your payment method. Now you can use privacy. I use privacy for all my accounts. Privacy works very well. You're going to want to make sure after you enter your privacy account that you choose billing address, same as default, and your set address is default payment. That way, when you go to check out, you don't really have to do anything at all but hit submit order. That's going to be the goal. A lot of the drops that are happening right now are Leos, which means you don't really have, as fast as you can get in and get in line, it's going to benefit you the best. On Dan drops, you have 10 minutes to enter as many as possible, which we'll go over in a few moments. Now, after you enter your account details, your payment methods, and your delivery address, you're going to want to make sure you go to shop preferences. Now, this is what's going to be pre-filled out for you when you're going to check out. You'll put your pre-selected shoe size here, mine is 9.5. You'll choose men's and you'll go to metric, and then you'll hit save. Then at that point, once you go to a shoe, it's already set up for you. So now on your phone, let me switch back here. So when you're creating accounts, again, whether you're buying them, when you're purchasing accounts, they'll come with phone number and email only. Now, when you're creating them, you want to make sure you never use the same password twice, and you never create the account or fill out the information on the same IP or proxy. You want to make sure that they're different every single time. Now, Nike does catch on when you're starting to create multiple accounts on the same proxy or IP. They will ban your account and you won't be able to log in. It'll say error with server. So if you're creating these on your phone, in order to change your IP, you want to make sure you turn on airplane mode. So you'll turn off Wi-Fi, you'll create an account, and then after you're done creating that account, you'll turn airplane mode on. You'll leave it on for 30 seconds. You'll take it off. You'll go to Google. You'll type in what's my IP. You'll make sure it's different from the first one, and then you can create a new account on that. You can do that as many times as you'd like, or you can use the method that we used in the last video for Omega Proxy Switcher. Purchase a 10 or 15 pack of proxies, add them to the browsers, and then create your Nike accounts that way. Now for releases, for a Leo release where you have to get in line as fast as humanly possible, what I recommend is setting up beforehand. So what you'll do is you will open up as many browsers as you have accounts. You'll make sure you add Omega Proxy Switcher to each one. You'll add your proxy. You'll go to Nike.com. You will fill in, you'll log in. You'll go to the page where the shoe is, and then right at drop time, you don't have to refresh. It'll already pull up for choosing your size and getting in line. That's going to be your best bet manually on getting into these drops, because if you don't get in fast, then there's no point. Now on Dan drops, you can go on sneakers, you can fill out your size on one account, log out, turn on airplane mode, log into another account. You can probably get a good 6 or 7 accounts in that 10 minutes. So it definitely is beneficial. If you want to take it a step further, there is a bot that I use called USneakers, and I'll pull that up for you guys now. Now, USneakers is what I use. It is a browser-based bot. So what it does is it focuses on quality only. It doesn't enter thousands and thousands of Nike accounts like TSB, which doesn't work very well anymore. And that just goes to show you that what I'm saying is valid. If thousands of accounts worked, then TSB would be at the top of its game. But the way that it fills out the information for each task that you create, it opens a browser, it goes in, it fills out your information, and it checks out, but it does it like a manual person would do it. Now, again, what you have to keep in mind is Nike is extremely strict on this process. If things go too fast, if it even has a sense of you being someone other than manual, they will block your account and you won't be able to get back in. So that's basically it. This is the method that I'm going to use today moving forward for the next week or so during these drops. This is the method that I always use, and it has proved to be consistent. Now, again, this doesn't guarantee anything. This only increases your chances at purchasing. If it wasn't consistent for me, I definitely wouldn't be making a video about it. So if there's any questions or anything that you guys need from me, if you want me to make a video on USneakers and how I set up for that, you're more than welcome to. I will drop some Nike account and sneaker account providers in the description, as well as an ISP provider, so you can utilize those ISPs in creating those accounts. Or you can jump on manually and create your own accounts with Gmails that you already have. It's all free at that point, so it's not going to cost you anything. But this is kind of what the sneaker industry is leaning towards. You know, Finish Line and JD are leaning towards early access. Foot Sites has gone pretty much almost 100% raffle FLX, and Nike and sneakers are doing it this way. You know, botting is kind of slowly, you know, diminishing as far as that's concerned. Shopify is really the only thing left. So if you have any questions, if you want to know anything that I haven't explained in the video, please drop a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe, turn on notifications. We do go live before every major drop to set up manual and bot, as well as live cops the day of. We have a lot of drops coming up in February. The red compact slates are coming out. A lot of dunks, Jordans. So I will be live for almost every single drop if it's hype enough. I do appreciate you guys watching and tuning in. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a great day.